Okay. All right, what's up, everybody? Good morning. Welcome to a Friday edition of Morning Scone. Hope y'all are having a good morning so far. As always, remember our friends over at Boudreaux's Bloody Mary Mix, Margarita Mix. Scone! Drew's here. Glad you are as well. Do us a solid if you haven't yet. Hit that share button. Bear. All right, I imagine today's probably going to be pretty lively considering the Kristian Fulton news. So I'll wait a quick sec here and let that viewer list build a little bit. Say some good mornings. Chad Chenevert, good morning. Darren Pellegrin, good morning. Adam Tower, good morning. Mark Demolin. Mark, let me know how to say it. Make sure I'm not saying it wrong. Val, good morning. Craig, Cole, Kevin, good morning. James, Dean, Lloyd Prophet, good morning. Let's see. Best part of my morning. Thank you, Cole. That's very kind, man. I appreciate that very much. Mike Buckland, good morning. Sam Dixon, Mike Sylvester, James Vadreen. What's up, Jimmy? Good to see you. Brandon Durr, what's up, my dude? Bob Kubrick, good morning. Tyler McGee, Sam Dixon. Good to see everybody here. Keen says, still in disbelief over the Fulton news. Yeah. Charlie Cavell, good morning. So we'll talk about the Fulton stuff, and then we'll obviously talk about Saints-Jags last night as well. Justin Dupuy, good morning. So Leroy Blanchard, good morning as well. I'll get rolling here. Okay. So for those that missed it, Kristian Fulton had his appeal denied. It's pretty devastating for that kid. We can talk about the on-field aspect of it, but also what happened. So, hey, whoa, what's the matter? You don't like what's on the TV here with Big Block? Okay, babe. Hey, Lily. Hey, you're gonna see Mama today. Mama. What does Mama say? What does Mama say? Hey, what's the matter? Sorry, y'all. Hey. He's mad about Kristian Fulton, too. He's very mad about it. He's very upset. Hey, listen. Okay. So, I stayed up last night. Well, I always stay up late, but I was up late last night writing a column for Gridiron Now about the Fulton stuff. And I didn't want to just come out, like, spewing venom. I actually wanted to have some substance behind why I feel the way I do, and I found plenty. I saw someone there just mentioned Will Greer. When Will Greer was at Florida, he failed drug test PEDs. He obviously sat out a year for a failed test, went to West Virginia, and now he's a Heisman candidate. But that wasn't even what I wanted, because the rule is what it is. You fail a test, you have a 1-year suspension. What I wanted to find was examples of guys who had their suspension reduced. And it's so easy, man. You do a quick Google search, the number of instances that turn up. You see, the people who like to say, he broke a rule, that's the punishment. See, that's a very black and white reality. And the problem with that is the NCAA, for as long as it has existed, lives in this world of gray. And that's what's annoying about this. You see, remember Tony Brown, defensive back from Alabama? Before the college football playoff in 2016, failed a drug test, 6-game suspension. They reduced it to 4 games. And oh, by the way, because he was tested while playing football, he was still allowed to run track. Because that makes a ton of sense, right? Oh, well, we didn't test you during track season. We tested you during football season. So it doesn't matter that you were using drugs during football season for track. Like, in what reality does that make sense? I found instances of players having suspensions reduced for gambling, for accepting impermissible benefits from agents. It's the inconsistencies are absurd. But it's what happens when you exist in the gray, but then you hold different people to different standards. And the biggest problem that I have with the whole Fulton case, and some will say, yeah, well, but he lied, he tried to deceive the NCAA. In 2012, there was a University of Texas point guard who accepted impermissible benefits, lied to the NCAA about it, was handed out on 1-year suspension, which was then reduced to 23 games. So basically, he got to play in the conference tournament, in the conference season, and in the postseason. Like, Penn State had their sanctions after the Joe Paterno situation reduced. This is a university that provided a safe haven for a pedophile to molest children for decades, and they had their sanctions reduced. And where some people get this crossways, like, don't forget that Kristian Fulton has already paid a very severe price. He has lost a year of eligibility. He's sat out a full year. Here's the other thing I'll tell you. Why this system is so screwed up and why I can't wait for the NCAA to be done forever. Look at Savion Smith. Okay? Savion Smith was going to be suspended at LSU for multiple failed drug tests. Instead of taking his medicine and serving his suspension and staying at LSU, he goes junior college. Of course, junior college is not regulated by the NCAA. So he transfers to a junior college, plays last year in JUCO. Now, since he's been gone for a year, suspended, whatever, he transfers to Alabama, and he's immediately eligible this year. So, Savion Smith finds the loophole, never misses a day of football, let alone a season. And he's good to go at Alabama this year. Meanwhile, Kristian Fulton, who tried to do the right thing, stuck it out, took his punishment, kind of trusted the system. Now his career in all effect is over. So, like, some have asked, can Kristian Fulton go JUCO this year? No, because he's a third-year player. He's a junior. So he can't, like, JUCO's 2 years. He can't go to JUCO. So Kristian Fulton's options are sit out this year and go to the NFL draft, or try to come back in 2019 and play your senior year, and then go to the NFL. And if I was him, I don't know what I'd do, man. I have no idea. So, man, the NCAA is just the problem. The problem with the NCAA is that, understand, when it was founded, the objective was to organize championships for intercollegiate athletics, okay? And the NCAA probably still does a really good job running the Division III cross-country championship because nobody gives a shit. All due respect. But what's happened in major college athletics is that it's gotten to be so massive, and the NCAA's growth as far as enforcement and different things like that has not kept up with the growth of college football and men's college basketball. And so now you have these behemoths that the NCAA can't adequately regulate. And so at every turn, you're finding these inconsistencies in these situations where the organization has egg on its face. Like, just this week, like, did you see what happened this week with the NCAA regulations with college basketball players? they had this big sweeping decision, right? The Rice Commission, they had all these suggestions and recommendations. The NCAA enacts them. The NBA comes out and says, they didn't consult us on any of this. And then remember how they said they were going to determine an elite prospect? An elite prospect will be determined by USA Basketball. USA Basketball comes out and says, they didn't ask us to do this. It's just the organization cannot function. Like, if you want to still let the NCAA operate Division II lacrosse championships, God bless you. You want to organize the venue and get the trophy taken care of and handle ticketing and sponsorships and all that, fine. But the day the NCAA governing college football and men's college basketball is over. Like, it's and it's from an LSU perspective today, it stings because you were affected this time. But how is it different from what Ole Miss fans felt last year, or what Miami fans have felt, or USC fans, or Penn State fans, or go down the list, man. Just go down the list of the NCAA's BS. And at some point, everyone's going to be affected by it. And the more and more fan bases are affected by it, the more negative pub for the NCAA, the more pressure put on that organization and the powers that be within intercollege athletics, the conference commissioners and university presidents, to ultimately pressure the NCAA to get the away. And it happened with Mike's Live. When Mike's Live stumped for Power 5 autonomy, it happened. And it's not going to stop there. And one day the NCAA will all, thank God, that it's going to be obsolete and it will be gone. It will not govern men's college basketball or college football, and it will be a wonderful, wonderful day when that happens. I feel so bad. And the other thing about Kristian Fulton, too, is, man, the other thing about Kristian Fulton, too, man, is you ask anybody at LSU, anybody at Rummel, they'll tell you he's a good kid. He's a really good kid. Did this dumb thing, but really good student at Rummel and has been a really good student at LSU, hasn't complained throughout all this situation, has still gone to practice, still gone to class, good family, has not sniffed trouble at LSU. But for this. So it's like this one instance and you're done. Like, you're done? Your college career is over? I can't get on board. Hang on, Drew's fussing. I'm so pissed off right now. Anyway, you can tell, like, I'm so just, I mean, it's awful, man. It's just, like, I keep saying this, but, like, it would have been better, like, understand this, it would have been better for Kristian Fulton to have been a drug abuser. In the eyes of the NCAA, it would have been better for him to have actually been breaking rules and using performance-enhancing drugs. I mean, you can't ignore the context of this situation, which is college kid with his buddies, he had smoked weed. Not saying it's okay. I'm also not going to sit here and tell you that it never happens. And then the other thing, for everyone who talks about, well, he broke a rule, it's black and white. The other thing, two things in the rule. One is there was, as Ross Dellinger reported, a very clear-cut instance of improper handling of a sample by the NCAA tester, which should have discarded that sample immediately. So, like, if you want to look at black and white, they're like, this shouldn't have never even happened because of the way the chain of custody of that sample should never happen. And the other thing is, it's written in the rule that schools are required to provide adequate education on what these student athletes are being tested for and what the punishment is. LSU, in this appeal, wrote a letter to the NCAA acknowledging they did not accurately and adequately educate their student athletes. Like, LSU even took the blame and said, look, we didn't tell this kid what he was being tested for. That's on us. So 2 instances, black and white, within that rule that should provide the loophole, and the NCAA is like, nope. It sucks, man. It's like, I just cannot believe. I mean, in part I can, because it's the NCAA, and you learn to believe any of this crap could happen. But I just, like, I like the football aspect. I mean, fine. I mean, the kid didn't even play last year. He's a great player. Was a great player. If he still is. But LSU will figure it out. I mean, they'll put guys out in the field who can run and flip their hips and cover and whatever. But I'm very pro student athlete, and this is such an awful instance of a student athlete just getting screwed by the NCAA. It's just unbelievable. Charlie Cavell said, had he been caught with weed and weapons in Monroe, Fulton would be free. It's true. Nothing happened to Hootie and Cam. They got to play. All right. Get to y'all's comments. We'll talk some Saints stuff as well. Chad, I like the Elijah Craig bourbon. Yeah, dude. That is good. My real stash is over there. Adam Penny, good morning. Yeah. There you go, man. Jordan Menser. How's there video evidence of the scumbag, talking about Jeffrey Simmons, from Mississippi State punching a girl on the ground in the face? And he did miss 1 game, and Fulton has to sit 2 years. Darren, in essence, the hardest punishment conceivable, even if you get kicked off the team, you sit out 1 year, catch on somewhere else. Pretty much. CBO, good morning. Corey Messina, good morning. Sam says, I'm not a conspiracy kind of guy, but it does seem like some schools get scrutinized a hell of a lot more than others, not to name names Alabama. Blake McGraw, good morning. Justin Robinson, good morning. It's all subjective, Matt. Peekaboo! The NCAA's decisions are made arbitrarily and changed day by day based on who's in the yearbook situations. It's true. I mean, it is true. There is no consist. Like I just detailed, there's no consist. French fry. Furry 4. Lily. Okay, we'll see ya. Oh man. David Jenkins. Ridiculous BS is what it is. 2019 will have Fulton, Vincent Stingley Jr. David, that's if he stays, man. I don't know what Kristian Fulton's going to do at this point. I mean, he can go to the NFL after this year. I wouldn't blame him if he did. And some are saying, why would he go? He wouldn't get drafted. If you're good enough, man, go undrafted, get signed as an undrafted free agent, and make your money. And the reality is, I think, good kid. He could go to the combine, test real well, do workouts for scouts. I mean, guys have gotten drafted with far less tape. Anyway. Yeah, Sam Dixon. And now we get to watch Ohio State, Urban Meyer get swept away right before our eyes. Yeah. Hey, bud. Hey, bud. Hey, why are you fussing? Hey, what's the matter? Use your words. Use your words. Lily. Hey, guess who's coming to see you today? Mama. What's Mama gonna say to you? What does Mama say? Okay. Abba. 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 I don't know what that is. He started doing that last night, going Abba. I don't know what that is, but he wants us to repeat it. All right. Justin, retaliate by scheduling only Power 5 games. Ignore the NCAA. Pave the way. It's just Justin. In theory, that's nice. It's just not going to happen, man. Like no school individually is just going to put themselves at a competitive disadvantage by only scheduling Power 5 games. The only way that ever happens, and I'd be for it, but like the only way that ever happens is if the conference commissioners collectively got together and said, "This is what we're all going to do. We're all going to play 8 or 9 conference games or whatever it is, 10 conference games, and then, well, I guess like the Big 12 could only play 9, but say we're all going to play 9 conference games, and then we'll schedule 3 Power 5 non-conference games, and that's it." But there would have to be guarantees, from the college football playoff about how the committee is going to judge losses, and I mean it's. Do you shorten the season? There's a lot of questions there. But the point is, like, it's never, like, one school will never just voluntarily put itself at a competitive disadvantage. It just won't. Bless you. Scott Bork. Good morning from Houston Hobby Airport. Good morning, Scott. Chuck Sanchez. Let's see. Thomas. Retaliate by the Power 5 creating their own organization. Like, they have it in football. See, like, that's the crazy thing. Like, I think some people forget this. Like, the NCAA does not regulate the football championship. The college football playoff is an independent organization that the Power 5 conferences collectively agreed, this is how we're going to crown our champion. They don't, like, when every other sport, the NCAA gives you that wooden trophy, it says NCAA champion on it. There isn't one of those for football because the NCAA doesn't crown a football champion. The college football playoff organization does. And before that, it was the BCS. So it's like, if college football can regulate itself to crown its own champion, it can regulate itself top to bottom. Abba. Are you saying Abba? Like, take a chance on me? Dancing Queen? Was Abba Dancing Queen? Abba. I got 10 more minutes because I got... I had to do an interview on an Arkansas radio station at 8, so I'll see if I can get some of your. I'm just reading all your comments. For those just joining us, it's the Russians. Talking about the Kristian Fulton stuff. Justin Duke, we said broker rule is black and white. Is Hannegriff is that Hannegriff's take? Don't worry, I'll verbally pimp slap Hannegriff. I'll set him straight. It's just. To use the black and white argument when the NCAA throughout its existed in areas of gray is just stupid. It is stupid. It's stupid to say that. I'm not saying Charles is stupid because I love Charles, and I think he has good takes and is smart and also. But anyway, let's see. Craig, our Jordy and T-Bob Maddie for taking our listeners away during this time. Yeah.
Mama.
Dude, never.
Mama.
Mama. Abba. I'd answer your question, Craig. No. If you think I'm stealing market share by doing a Facebook Live that has at this moment 41 people watching, then that's just kind of short-sighted. I've shared this before. Like I'll tell you my whole view on it. So, like, but at the end of the day, I'll go back and check this, and we'll hit 1,500. There was one. The first day of fall camp, we had like 3,700 viewers throughout the day. So this builds throughout the day as people are scanning their phone. The reality is the way people consume media is just different now. If you're in your car, you're not watching this. You're listening to them, which is cool. And later in the day, you're probably listening to their podcast, which is cool. And then at night, maybe listen to mine. There's just so many avenues for people to consume content now. It's all sort of homogenized. And no, I'm not stealing market share doing this Facebook Live. But I enjoy it. I love the community we've created here. Like I said, we're averaging about like between 1,000 and 1,500 viewers a day. I'm very grateful to Darren and Boudreaux's for sponsoring this, so we can keep doing it. And it's been a lot of fun, man. I'm really excited to see what this looks like a year from now, 2 years from now. You know what I mean? Like, conceivably, could this thing grow where in a year from now we have 15,000 viewers a day? I don't know. That'd be really cool. Anyway, no, Craig, I know what you mean, man. But to answer your question, no, it's no different than those guys do their Tin Roof Tap Room thing on Thursdays. It's like they're having a listener event like during my show. I don't care. I mean, go get it, man. Build those relationships, please, by all means. All right, let me get y'all some seat. Abba. I think you started saying Abba. All right, let me get y'all some reaction to the Saints last night real quick. Joseph Strickland, Robert Gremion, good morning. Brad Jean, good morning. Let's see, Val asked thoughts on Zach Strief last night. It wasn't good, but if you expected it to be good, that's short-sighted. Technically, he's just got a long way to go. He was much more comfortable calling the Saints offense for obvious reasons because he knew the personnel. There's so many things, like if you wanted a legitimate critique, there's so many things formatically that when you're calling play-by-play that you have to consider that he just didn't do. For example, like the opening drive of the game was a 15-play, 7-minute drive. He did not give a time check or a score check once. That's like you should be doing that roughly every 60 seconds. A time or score check. Because you understand how people use radio. They're constantly in and out. And then throughout the drive, he never gave you the spot on the field. He would give you down in distance, gain of 8, but he wouldn't say gain of 8 up to the 41 or inside Saints territory, whatever. It's things like that are difficult to make it difficult to follow a game if you don't understand formatically how to broadcast the game for radio. But that's stuff he'll learn in time. My problem with it is like it's one of those jobs where you don't hire someone who needs to learn on the job. Me. But I'm sure in time he'll be fine. It's just gonna take time for him to understand how to do it. French fry. Wow. Okay. Yeah, Charlie, and he's following Henderson, who is so good, and legendary. So of course, like a side by side comparison, it's not going to bode well for Zach. But he just needs to not be Jim, just be himself, and let it, just give it time. Okay, so a couple of takeaways. If Drew Brees gets hurt, they're screwed because Tom Savage stinks. I thought Will Clapp played really well, man. He played the end of the second quarter and then all of the second half at center and more than held his own. The obvious caveat there is that he's going against backups, but I thought Will played really well. There were no quarterback-center exchange issues. I watched Jermon Bushrod at left tackle a lot as well, and he's lost a step. It's very clear. The guy, 55, I don't even know, Elliott? I don't even know who the hell that is. But it was impossible not to miss him. I mean, a couple of sacks, one strip sack, which ultimately gave the Saints the short field to go win the game. He was super impressive. I was really surprised they used Kamara as much as they did early in the game. He had 4 touches on the first drive for the Saints. David Onyemata, I was hoping to see some flashes. Didn't see it last night, which is okay. It's hard to be a super dominant player on the interior of the defense, especially in a preseason game. The first defense got gashed on that opening drive, but I mean, I remember 2013, Rob Ryan's first year, and they of course made the playoffs and had a really good defense that year. the very first drive of the first preseason game in the Dome was same thing. I forget who they were playing, but might have been New England, right down the field. I remember tongue in cheek tweeting, like, "Oh my God, they still suck. It's going to be awful," because they brought in Rob Ryan and everyone was optimistic that they'd get better. And of course, defense went on to have a really good year. So, first drive of the first preseason game, or whatever. Whatever. So I was just wanting everybody to stay healthy, see if anybody could flash. The other thing that was impressive, Brandon Tate with first kickoff return of the game for like 36 yards. And the other thing, I thought Boston Scott and I don't think they were. Boston Scott and Jonathan Williams were more impressive than Terrence West and James Vereen. So, Jonathan Williams late in the game made a beautiful run. Like, he just got low into the pile, kept driving his feet, and then you thought the play was dead. Then he popped out of it and busted it for about another 10 yards. He was impressive. Now, it's worth mentioning that was in the fourth quarter when they were playing against a bunch of guys that aren't going to make an NFL roster. But still, it was impressive, man. Hey, dude. All right, we're about to wrap this up, y'all. Trivia, wide receiver. Yeah, Traquan Smith is so impressive. God, he had a beautiful catch down around like the 10, inside the 5. It was on the drive when Taysom Hill ultimately scored to bring the Saints within 3. But, man, he's impressive. All right, let's see. Okay, y'all, we're going to wrap this up. Appreciate y'all. Heading into the weekend, y'all go check out some Boudreaux's. You can get it in Baton Rouge at Calandro's, Calvin's in Bocage, Alexander's, Mid-City Wine and Craft. Shout out to all those companies, all those places for carrying it. If where you shop they don't carry Boudreaux's, go shake the store manager feverishly and demand that they start. Or you can go online, boudreauxmix.com, boudreauxmix.com. And of course, you can like them on all their social media as well. We appreciate Boudreaux's for sponsoring. So if y'all are going to be hitting up some pool time this weekend, margarita mix, if you're doing Sunday brunch, Bloody Mary mix, hit it up, y'all. All right, we're going to call this a show. Appreciate you for being there. I got to go jump on an interview in Arkansas right now. I will see you today for AFR. Y'all have a great one. And Drew Scrine. So it's even better time.